Good afternoon. I just got some extra ingredients, some new ingredients in for formulation I'm working on. And we made a similar version of this before. But this one has some different ingredients that help control the foam a little bit. So we're going to do that. We're going to make it from scratch, and here we go. We're going to make almost a quart. So let's get started. The reason I'm making a quart is that I need to spray this on some panels for samples. So we're going to start out with the first polymer. There's actually two polymers in this system. Whoops. Went past that one pretty quick. Wow, how about that? What a guess. 445, right on the button. Okay. Put this in here. You can see I already have a beaker prepared for this one. Let's see, I'll turn it down pretty low. We just need a little bit of a vortex. And now we're going to add another resin. Doesn't take quite as much on this one. Some people may ask, why are we using two different resins? Well, I'm going to tell you, first of all, I just messed that up totally. I just put the same one back in there. Let's go this way. Okay. That's a little too much. I think we're going to go back down a little bit here. There we go. Let's try this again. At least I didn't dump it in there. Okay, we're going to let these two mix together. Let's give it a couple minutes. And anyhow, we have to prepare our next mix as a blend. So let us get this one going and we'll be right back. Okay, for those of you that, let's shut that off, who've seen my videos before, what I do is I take a drawdown of every step. Obviously I combined two resins together, so I guess technically I didn't do it on the first one. But we're going to do this right here on a drawdown card at 4 wet mil. The reason I do this is to monitor compatibility between materials. And even though I've made this one a couple times, it doesn't mean that I may accidentally find something out on the third or fourth time. So here we have a multi-sided drawdown bar. There we go. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like in the wet phase. Right there in the wet phase, not too bad looking. But I already know what this is going to do. And that's that since it doesn't have a coalescing solvent in it, that film when it dries is going to shatter. So let's do the premix on, I have a formulary put together right here. And it says to mix a little bit of this one. Not very much at all, actually. In fact, let us do this a little differently this morning, or this afternoon. on and of that one. And then we need quite a bit of the water. We're going to reach 0 our scale. Okay, now I've already got a small beaker right here set up because this has to blend together. So you can see it right there as it starts to blend. It's got a nice vortex going down there. So that's blended. We're going to let that one blend for a few minutes to get that worked in. Then we'll dump it in and then do a drawdown and then we'll be right back. Okay, we got that mix in here. So we have this one here that's already mixed. This is what's called co-solvent. It should make that then turn into a film forming product. One thing I like to do is lay out all my ingredients for this particular formulation in advance. So that way I have it here and I can see as I go. I'm going to turn the vortex up a little bit here. I'm up at 650 RPM. I want to slowly add this into there. If you just dump it in there, just dump it in, you risk a particular chance of shocking the polymer and turning it into like cottage cheese. So we took it easy. We're going to let this mix for another couple of minutes. Then we're going to do a drawdown. Then we'll do that. Okay, we now have that mixed in there. We'll shut the timer off. We're going to now do a drawdown. And what this should do is as this one dries, it should then go ahead and show you, and I'll show you the difference between a non-coalesced film and a coalesced film. Okay, and here's what this one looks like. Starting to come together. Okay. Now, next in our formula is a dispersing aid. What a dispersing aid, it assists in, when you add the powder to it, it assists in making it be coalesced. It goes into it the way it should be. It doesn't take very much. Go, just enough. Try and get all of this out of there. Next, what we're going to put in, we're going to let this one mix for a couple minutes. Then we're going to come back with another type of dispersing aid. Okay, we have that one finished up. Let's take another drawdown. This is a 4-way drawdown bar, so I have to always look and see what thickness that we're putting it down at, so it's always consistent. Perfect. That's what we like to see. Another real smooth drawdown right there. Because what we're looking for is if there's a contamination that takes place or an incompatibility between some of these products, what you want to look for is it'll show it up on that drawdown right away. So now we're going to add another type of a dispersing aid. Excuse me. The reason that we're using 2 of them, this one does something a little different, in as much as it goes ahead and assists in pigment loading in particular. Although it's a white coating, we're going to add additional pigments to it, and this helps it be compatible to do that. Let's see. Let's do this one just a little differently. Okay, we're going to start that one right back up again right there. There's a phrase that's called a synergistic reaction that takes place as you add each of these chemicals. In this particular formulation, believe it or not, there's like 17 ingredients, and they all do something a little different. So until the very last one is added, that polymer that we first started out with is continually changing and developing into the finished product that we want it to be. Let's let this mix. Okay, now we'll let this one mix in there. And we're running 730 RPM on the mixer right this second. Let's take a look at this additive. It's a dispersing aid. Okay, no effects here. This one seems to be going in fine. Okay, now what do we do? Let's see here. This is a new Foamex that I was just waiting for. Anytime you're mixing waterborne products, you're going to have foam. It's not if, it's a matter of how much. So this one is what's called a grinding foam. Foamer, defoamer. And what that does is then when we start to add the powders, it's going to foam up big time. This is to help control that. It doesn't take very much. In fact, we'll use this right here. And I double check it on the scale as well at the same time. Okay. This, by the way, is a brand new developed product. The guy that runs the additive department for the company that supplies this one and I have known each other years. And he's the one who recommended this particular one, said, try this, Dave, I think it'll work. So that's what we're doing. Okay, we've got our defoamer done. Let us take a look at this. This is a new ingredient, so when I do these, you have to understand, I've never made these before in this exact order. So we're kind of both figuring out for the first time what's gonna happen. Whoops, about made a basket there. Wow, that's wild looking. Wow. This is what I call a reaction. And I'm not sure what to do about it. I think this is one, now that I think about it, that requires high speed to put it in. So we're gonna up the RPM. We're at 2,000 RPM. We're gonna let this go for 5 minutes. Let's see if we can get it to go in better. Well, I've just taken an additional drawdown and it looks the same as the first one where it is reacting. But I know it's a grind defoamer, so we're going to go ahead and do something I normally would not do. So we're going to at least put the grind in here, the pigment, and let's see if it works, and that's part of it. Let me get, here we go. So we're going to put right at the equivalent of a couple pounds per gallon of TiO2 pigment. Okay, we have that. We're going to put it in at high speed, so we're actually up to 2,000 RPM, 2024. Whoops. Last time we tried to do this, although the end product turned out fairly well, this part we had a lot of foam, and we put a defoamer in after the fact, and that killed all of it and made it a usable product. We're just going to see, I think I'm going to actually turn it up even a little higher. I did double check the data sheet on the defoamer that we used for the grind defoamer, and it said it had to be incorporated at high speed. So I don't know if not doing that right off the bat made a difference or not. We're fixing to find out. So like I said, I mean, this is quote unquote live. You're seeing what I'm seeing, so we'll just see. We're up to 2,200 RPM. A pigment grind goes for at least 20 minutes. So it's going to take a little bit of time, give me a chance to clean up a little bit. Before we add the next, about halfway through we'll come in and we'll add the next powder. It's a kaolin clay, it's called a filler. So we'll come back then. Okay, we are halfway through on the white. We're at 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take a sample and do a drawdown. still have a terrible foaming issue. As you can see. We're going to go ahead though and add the clay. It's just kaolin clay right here. I've already measured it out. So we're going to go ahead and add this next. Okay, and we still have about 9 minutes on the clock, so we'll check back in a few. Okay, we got 20 minutes up. Whoops. We're going to turn down the speed a little bit. Now I'll do a drawdown that has both powders in it. Okay, we still have the foam problem. Looks a little better, but it's still not even close to being correct. So let's see if we can add, this is a rheology modifier. And it doesn't take very much at this point. We're not trying to bring it up to viscosity, we're just trying to increase it so it grinds differently. Okay. There we go on that one. And then we're also going to add another defoamer at this point as well. Okay, we need 5 grams of this one. Okay. There's those two. Let's put a couple minutes on the clock. Stick those up a little and see what happens. Okay, this one we may be rushing a little bit. Let's see if this other defoamer has had a chance to work yet. Nope. It has not. As you can see. So, we're going to try one more thing. And this is a flow additive that allows things to level and flow. It doesn't get a whole lot, but it does get some. this helps. Okay. Shut that off. Let's see. We just tried to thicken it up. It has thickened up some. So let's take a look at it. That has not corrected anything. Well, we're going to add one more ingredient against my better judgment, I think. And we'll see whether or not this just happens to make a difference. I don't think it will. This is actually a type of paraffin wax that is used to make the moisture resistance of the coating a little better, feel a little different too. Let's put some time on this one as well and we'll come back to it. Okay, one more time. Okay, same thing. So we've not been able to correct this at all just yet. I'm going to try a couple things and then I'll come back and see if it works. Well, I tried a different defoamer. And we're going to see if this works. I went ahead and brought the rheology up closer to what it should be. And the answer is no go. It's called start over. So, as I openly stated early on, this is one that I haven't tried either, and you're seeing it live as it comes together. So what happens, I had a funny feeling when I first saw those foam, or those fisheye problems, when we first put that additive in, that new defoamer. I should probably have stopped right there, but I wanted to go through so people can understand. Can you fix these? Yes, but what you don't do is keep throwing other things at it until it's gone. There is a problem with that new defoamer, and this particular formulation has to be taken out and replaced and start over. So for now, welcome to my world.